Greetings, and welcome to this 20-minute webinar on independent reading. My name is Irma Rodriguez. I'm an early literacy coach with the Office of Children and Families, and I will be your presenter. In this webinar, you will learn how to implement independent reading, how to start it, and what to do along the way. It's packed with information, which brings me to what you will need for the next 20 minutes. You will need your independent reading resource packet. We will be referring to it from time to time. You will need your thinking caps for seeing the possibilities within your program and a paper and pencil for notes. Hopefully you'll have some ideas along the way, and when this happens, be sure to pause and jot it down. Our OST literacy team has created webinar trainings around all light touch literacy pillars. Those pillars are read alouds, literacy-rich environment, and independent reading. If you are starting independent reading at your site, I strongly recommend that you sign up for those trainings if you haven't already. That's because independent reading is best when it's supported by other pillars and part of a system. Light touch literacy practices are simple practices that when done consistently, reinforces reading skills taught in a classroom and instill reading motivation. Independent reading is the final phase when children take responsibility for their reading journey. So what is independent reading? Over time, we have given this many names. Have you ever heard of DEAR time, which stands for Drop Everything and Read, or SSR, Sustained Silent Reading? Basically, independent reading is a designated time for youth to read self-selected books, allowing them to practice their reading skills alone or with a partner. So let's break it down. Who is doing the reading? The child is always doing the reading. For read alouds, you are the star. For independent reading, they are the star. What they will need is a self-selected book. Student choice is a very important part of their reading journey. There has to be an element of buy-in on the part of the child. And you can spend some time teaching the Goldilocks method of choosing books. Not too hard, not too easy. But as you plan for your independent reading, account for the time that they need to investigate. Now for the when and where, we have the opportunity to be creative. We can create different combinations of when and where to introduce different reading challenges. Please refer to your resource packet to see a section on virtual independent reading challenges. An example would be the In the Bed Reading Challenge. For this, children can read in bed before they sleep or when they wake up, even in pajamas. What are the benefits of independent reading, and why should we make time for it? Independent reading builds reading stamina, enlarges vocabulary and background knowledge, ignites reading habits, creates self-sufficient readers, and improves fluency and comprehension. Next, we will see a short video showing how one teacher incorporates independent reading and the culture she sets up to support it. Let's compare independent reading in 3 settings and see how they may differ from one another. In a school setting, children are reading for skill development. Teachers have assessments and a system that identifies students' reading levels. And teachers have access to books specifically for independent reading. The focus is on moving children through levels. In an OST setting, children read for enjoyment. Staff get an idea of reading abilities through interactions like homework help. OST programs can get books from many different sources, and they can sort their books by genre. The focus here is on improving reading motivation. While some independent reading programs require youth to remain completely still and quiet, in an OST setting, you will hear a buzz. Remember the video? When children are enjoying what they're reading, they're going to want to talk about it. You want to let them find their own spot and get comfortable. If you don't have any bean bags, a book nook, or carpet seating, you can relax some rules you have, allowing youth to sit on top of their desks or even under. In a virtual setting, independent reading may take the form of summer reading challenges, daily challenges. You may have access to ebooks and reading apps, monitored reading sessions. You can also use slides as anchor charts and may want to consider supporting with physical materials whenever possible. This is my simple strategy for implementing independent reading in an OST environment. Introduce independent reading as a leisure activity with benefits. There are 4 steps we can use to get independent reading started. Firstly is to set a goal. Second, to set norms and expectations. Along the way, we keep track, and lastly, we provide the incentive. An easy way to achieve these steps is to partner with an existing reading incentive program. You will then take on the role of supporting the progress and keeping kids on track. Teaming up with parents is key, especially now with doing this remotely. Make it a team effort. Parents can partner with you by adding on their own incentives at home. As you are keeping track, you'll know who's participating and who isn't. Asking parents what their obstacles are for reading at home will give you great insight as you structure your program. We all want our kids to succeed. Independent reading systems can be a great resource. Read to self and read to someone are independent reading activities that are part of the Daily 5. I like this system because you can find guidance on all 3 light touch literacy pillars. If you look up read to self and read to someone, you can find guidance on how to create stations, norms already thought of, anchor charts, and tracking tools. You may not be able to use this system the same way teachers do, but definitely use whatever helps you in following these 4 steps. Okay, the first step is setting a goal. I like to use the SMART model for setting goals, and really, the SMART model can be applied to any goal you have. It helps make your goals comprehensive and precise. You want it to be specific, measurable, attainable, results-oriented, and time-bound. If you want your independent reading goal to be specific, you have to consider how many books you are reading, how many minutes, how often. For the measurable category, think about what you're trying to achieve. Are we improving stamina? That means that we start from 7 minutes and work our way up. When you are making an independent reading goal attainable, you want to consider the access children have to books or materials, and how involved a parent can be, and any other participation challenges you may have. R is for results oriented. You want to make sure your goal is connected to your desired outcomes, and that goes back to the benefits of independent reading. And finally, is our goal time-bound? Do we make short-term goals? Do we make long-term goals? Here are some examples of SMART goals for independent reading. Example 1. Our goal is to read for 1,000 minutes by the end of the summer. To do this, we will read 25 minutes a day, 4 days a week. This will improve our reading stamina. Example 2. My goal is to read 30 books by the end of the summer, and to do this, I will read 3 books a week. This will improve my motivation to read. After you set your goals, you set your norms and your expectations for independent reading. And what I mean by norms are the do's and the don'ts, what it looks like. This is something that you will have to go over regularly until the youth are familiar with the system, and you can choose to do this in a variety of ways. You can come up with them as a group, use slides, turn it into a skit or a song. They can make their own independent reading anchor charts for home. That way parents become familiar. Things to keep track of while doing independent reading are the participants, books youth are reading, how long they are reading, what they are learning, and including reflections will help us keep track of what they're learning. Keep this process light. One reflection question is sufficient for OST. The most important thing is that they picked up a book. Whatever you're keeping track of should be aligned with the goals that you set forth. And if you're partnering with a reading incentive program, they may be able to provide you with logs and reflection activities. Incentives are like the cherry on top. Little incentives can be used to keep kids motivated along the way. You can create a virtual incentive basket where kids get to choose a virtual activity. Prepare memes, funny animal videos on YouTube, try not to laugh challenges, would you rather questions, video game time, clean content that they can enjoy with their friends because they're really missing that playtime. And then whatever incentive program you're partnering with, make sure you are communicating with them. Following through with that will give the kids an added incentive for independent reading. Hopefully, I've given you a lot to think about. I am so grateful you are here. And if you want to know more about independent reading, please join us for the training where we will go deeper into parental involvement and cover how to pick the just right book, and you'll be able to collaborate. I hope that you're excited to kick this off at your sites, and please reach out with any questions, concerns, or ideas. We hope to see you again.